So, what's a sideshow? A sideshow was a secondary production associated with a circus, carnival fair, things like that. It often featured less family-friendly entertainment like freak shows, the woman with the beard, the fat lady, the strong man, stuff like that. It's a phenomenon that has largely died out since it doesn't quite meet modern tastes. We have still sideshows though, where we elaborate on some topics that may be of interest to some, but not necessarily needed in order to become a good programmer. So you're not obliged to watch them. Not every lesson has a sideshow, although if questions pop up, we may add them later. Now, one of the questions that budding programmers often pose is, can I break my computer when programming? In general, no. Programming is no more dangerous to your computer than using a spreadsheet. You may overwrite some file if you're not careful enough, but that's about it. Nowadays there are tons of features that protect your computer from doing something stupid. uBasic 4 has even additional layers built in. But let's try to see how modern computers protect you. First, there's the operating system. That's a black blob of software that sits between the hardware and your program. If you want to open a file, your program will have to ask the operating system to do that for you. If you want to put a message onto the screen, same thing. There are programs that communicate with the operating systems directly, and that offers some advantages like speed. Programs like that are often written in C or C++. Most likely your spreadsheet has been written in one of those computer languages. Some other languages add another layer to that stack, called a virtual machine. A virtual machine allows you to write programs that run on several different platforms like Android or Windows or Linux or OS X. Virtual machines are usually a bit more restrictive and often do some additional checks before passing a command to the operating system. Java, but also Python is such a language. uBasic 4, however, is a language that sits on top of a virtual machine. It does its own checking and complains when you're doing something wrong, but if an error isn't caught, it's very likely it will be caught by the virtual machine. And even if that doesn't work, it can fall back on the operating system. So it's quite unlikely you're able to pierce through all those layers and do something stupid. Now, how can you tell which layer caught which error? Most of the time, uBasic will provide you with a message like a number too big or not a function, things like that. If the virtual machine caught the error, uBasic 4 will display system error. That doesn't mean that anything got broken, you can safely continue. It just means the virtual machine layer said to stop right here. It may be something very trivial, like trying to divide by 0. If the operating system kicks in, and I've never seen that happen, you'll get something like segmentation fault, but that's extremely rare, especially where uBasic 4 is concerned. Of course, there is a disadvantage to having all those layers, and it's speed. uBasic 4 isn't as fast as other languages, but it's fast enough for now, I assure you. And that's the end of the line, folks.